In this video I'm highlighting the best essential lore-friendly Dragon's Dogma 2 mods I actually recommend in 2025. There will be no cheat mods, no out-of-place anime swords, though I get the appeal. This list is all about immersive tweaks that enhance the game without breaking it. This video's got chapters for your convenience, and all the utility mods you'll need to get things running are covered at the end. There's also a full text guide in the description on how to mod the game, so check that out if you need help. And if you've got questions, drop them in the comments. Like, subscribe, and let's go. We will start with something small but important, UI and icons. There are a bunch of mods on Nexus that tweak various UI elements. I keep it simple, I don't play Dragon's Dogma 2 without these. Informative icons for potions, arrows and spellbooks. A simple quality of life mod that adds small icons next to your bottles and books, making them easier to recognize at a glance. It doesn't just look better, it also helps colorblind players like me find the right tool for the job faster. Next up, AI rings. This one replaces all the vanilla ring icons with AI generated ones, clean, distinct, and still lore friendly. Every single one of these puppies gets its own look without clashing with the game's style. Better map icons, swaps out the default icons for more colorful, readable ones. That's it, just nice. And also I'd like to throw better item description into the mix here. Does exactly what it says on the tin, makes item descriptions actually useful for once. These are all optional and come down to personal taste. I actually like the vanilla UI quite a bit, so I usually just go for light tweaks to freshen things up. But if you want to go wild, there are mods for clocks, custom health bars, and hard repositioning. Alright, the interface is polished, now let's make the game hurt. Custom difficulty tweaks by Telemity is the most essential Dragon's Dogma 2 mod and easily my personal favorite. I never play without it. It lets you tweak a huge range of combat calculations to make the game harder, or much harder, or easier if that's your thing. You can adjust damage taken by you and your pawns, damage dealt to enemies and bosses, stagger resistance, healing received, XP and discipline points rewards, critical damage, even the in-game economy. Want to make gold scarcer and shop prices higher? Go for it. Want to get your ass handed to you by the first group of gobs in the beginning? Go for it. There are a few built-in presets if you don't want to tinker, but I strongly recommend spending 30 minutes testing your own settings to find the perfect sweet spot that works for you. And once you're done tweaking, don't forget to make a backup of your preset so you don't lose it. You can come back to it anytime later. This mod can completely change how you play the game and how you approach each fight. If you haven't tried it yet, stop watching the video right now and go get it. Of course, numbers only go so far. If you're after new skills and a fresh feel to combat itself, the next two mods are for you. I'm talking about Dullahan, Modular Vocation Overhaul, and Durneviir, Dynamic Enemy Encounters, both made by the talented Nick Esponja. Probably butchered that. Dullahan is a massive overhaul to all Dragon's Dogma 2 vocations. It expands gameplay options, reworks broken skills, and adds custom skills for each vocation. The coolest part, it's modular. You can pick and choose which changes you want and leave the rest. Here's the full list of changes just to show you how massive this thing is. I'm main fighter in Dragon's Dogma 2, so I'll use fighter as an example. First off, you can now use shield pummel from the get-go by simply heavy attacking while blocking. This frees up a skill slot if you were like me and always had shield pummel clogging your loadout. Tusk Toss charge time was reduced from 0.85 seconds to 0.6 seconds. Steel Foundation's fall damage reduction was buffed. 2 new skills were added, Twirling Cut and Crossing Maw. They both look sick, but honestly I rarely use them. It's just cool to mess around with from time to time. And my favorite change, Shieldless Fighters finally get some love. You can now block incoming damage without a shield equipped. I absolutely love playing Shieldless Fighter. It adds a whole extra layer of badassery, and now with Dullahan, it's badassery with blocks. Plus, cloaks clipping through shields drove me absolutely insane, so this was a personal game changer for me. On top of that, every vocation now gets a double jump, and again, it's completely optional. You can disable it through the mod's drop down menu. That's what I did for my fighter playthrough, but for a thief or an archer, it just feels right. Give Dullahan a shot and let me know how your favorite vocation feels with it installed. And while you're at it, check out Durneviir, another mod by the same author. It overhauls the monster culling quests to bring in more interesting dynamic encounters featuring bosses and enemy packs that actually make these fights memorable. According to the mod author, there are 6 enemy tables that control the spawns for monster culling requests in the world, and in vanilla Dragon's Dogma 2, every single one of them was basically just a few goblins or wolves. Durneviir spices all of that up. Now instead of fighting 2 wolves and a single hobgoblin, you could end up facing an ogre, a minotaur, or even a chimera. It also fixes an annoying quirk where drakes would just fly away when spawned by these events. Now they stick around and fight like they're supposed to. There's really no reason to not give either of these mods a shot. They're surprisingly tame and lore friendly despite bringing a ton of fresh energy to the game. Definitely check them out if you want your Dragon's Dogma 2 to feel bigger and way more alive. And while you're making combat better, why not make it smarter too? This next one adds a small touch that makes a big difference. Monster Infighting is a highly customizable mod that makes enemies turn on each other when they get hit by friendly fire. Once a damage threshold is met, tension rises and they start throwing hands. It's not total chaos. Enemies won't abandon you completely or chase each other forever, but it adds a fun layer of unpredictability to combat and makes the world feel a bit more alive and petty. I recommend spending a little time fine-tuning the settings to hit that sweet spot. Not too easy, not too silly. When it's dialed in, it's one of the most entertaining mods out there, and if you don't go overboard, it won't break your fragile immersion either. Okay, enough violence, let's talk about something more annoying. NPCs shouting at you through cartoon text bubbles, and me asking you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Disable Speech Bubbles is a small but sweet mod that removes these intrusive little chat bubbles that pop up over characters' heads when they speak. It's one of those things that probably should have been a toggle in the base game, and honestly, if Capcom hadn't already ghosted Dragon's Dogma 2 support, it might have been. But here we are, the mod does exactly what it says on the tin. You can also like the video and subscribe, but only if you're entertained. And with the bubbles gone, let's get a little closer to the only person who still puts up with you, your main pawn. Carry Me Senpai is a mod that lets you carry your pawn bridal style once their affinity is high enough. It's kind of weird that you could soulmate a pawn and still drag them around like luggage. It's worth mentioning that with bridal carry animation on, you can't throw your pawns around anymore, just saying. And now that your love life is sorted, let's make sure you're not dressed like a potato sack. Arisen NPC outfits adds 540 previously NPC only items as player equipable gear and distributes them seamlessly across the world. That's it. Lots of new tops, pants, helmets and cloaks. Even 2 backpacks that go to your cloak slot and increase your weight limit by 20. It's fantastic for RP purposes or if you just want a fresh look for yourself or your pawn. Some items are only obtainable after completing specific quests. For example, parts of Wilhelmina's outfit unlock after you finish Every Rose Has Its Thorn. It's a bit like Dark Souls, where you can buy an NPC's gear after finishing or ending their quest line. And here's a practical mod that quietly fixes a bunch of stuff and just makes your game better. The Unofficial Dragon's Dogma 2 Patch. If you are already knee-deep in modding, there's absolutely no reason not to install the Unofficial Dragon's Dogma 2 Patch by Nick Esponja, who also made Dullahan and Durneviir. It fixes a ton of bugs and adds quality of life, cosmetic, and gameplay tweaks all in one go. I won't list everything, that's what Nex's descriptions are for, but here are a few highlights I really liked. It can now rain at night. Yes, really, couldn't before. Pressing the skip button actually skips dialogue now. The Wormfire glow on your gear is gone now. Sprinting with your weapon sheathed outside of combat no longer drains stamina. And that's just scratching the surface. I strongly recommend reading the full changelog, and if you do install it, make sure to uninstall any mods that overlap, like stamina out of combat or quick dialogue skip. But don't stress if you forget. Worst case scenario, the game won't launch and you'll just have to turn things off one by one to find the culprit. It's not like you're modding Fallout 4 with 600 plus mods where one wrong move corrupts all your save files and your entire family tree. It's also worth noting that Unofficial Dragon's Dogma 2 Patch plays nicely with both Dullahan and Durneviir. Use them together and you've got a rock solid Dragon's Dogma 2 experience. And finally, if you want any of this to actually work, you're gonna need a few vital behind the scenes tools. I'm covering utility mods at the end because let's be honest, most of you already know how to mod Dragon's Dogma 2, and if you don't, it's still stupidly easy, way simpler than Skyrim or Fallout. I'll leave a full install guide in the description, but here's the brief rundown of what you'll need to make the magic happen. REFRAMEWORK is absolutely essential, and thankfully it's also just drag and drop. Just make sure you're downloading the latest version from Nexus or GitHub, otherwise the game will reward your efforts with an infinite black screen. Pro tip, if you ever launch the game and hit that eternal void of darkness, 99% of the time it's REFRAMEWORK or one of your mods. Disable everything, then turn them back on one at a time like you're defusing a bomb. Fluffy mod manager, dead simple, toggle mods on and off with a click, that's it. XYZAPI, a tiny script that enables a bunch of HUD and interface mods to work properly. And finally, content editor. You'll need this one to make Arisen NPC outfits behave. Without it, you'll probably just be naked. So that's my essential mod list for 2025, just real improvements that respect what Dragon's Dogma 2 already is. If even one of these mods was useful or entertaining, go ahead and like the video, it helps way more than it should. And if you want more Dragon's Dogma 2 content, challenge runs, weird builds, mod showcases, subscribe. Also, I'm currently running a full playthrough with the Dragon's Dogma mod pack. Once I've seen everything it has to offer, I'll be making a proper deep dive. And that's all I've got. Thanks for watching.